So your spouse leaves, and then what? As a woman, your partner leaves, and then what? You're left with children, and then what? He doesn't take anything, and then what? You realize 2 months later he's denied you access to all finances, and then what? This video is about the journey of single motherhood, just across the board. It's not to any specific setup. And I just want to introduce it to you guided by the process of grieving. So imagine your spouse has walked out on you, and the first thing you go through could be denial, anger, or depression. I'm omitting bargaining because this happens as you're trying to come to terms with this new you. Let's start at the depression stage. In the book Wounded by Agisa Tongoyo-Duno, she says depression is commonly associated with grief. And what grief would someone be going through as a single mom? The first thing that I would think would come to mind is, has my house just been set on fire? And which house is this? I was recently at an interview. If you're watching this video way later, it was today. And I was trying to present the home as where the man provides and delivers to the house, and the woman has to create a system that works for her to be called the homemaker. So when someone abandons you, whether it has been happening for a while or whatever, and they just exit, the first thing that you do is probably grieve over that. How could this be happening to me? And Agisa says in her book that you might withdraw from life, feel numb, live in a fog, and not even want to get out of bed, because you're thinking your yesterday and the days before that were set up around the presence of two. Let's go into denial quickly. I want to keep this one short and sweet. Let's go into denial, where you say, no. I know XYZ can't live without me, can't find his socks without me, can't trace his vests without me. And so it goes into 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 months. He's not coming back. What do you do then? You go into denial, and you start to say, no, I don't think it's that serious, or we just need to talk to somebody. Can we go to church? Let's talk to our parents. Let me send my brothers. Let me call up his friends. And then you realize they're not picking your calls. Oh, isn't it the month of August? So-and-so's baby has a bad birthday this month. Let me get in touch. No response. And you realize that you're the newbie in this conversation, that he had already communicated to them that these were his intentions and he was gonna do it anyway. You get into the anger stage of thinking, life is not fair. How could I have been so blinded? And all this time, what is missing in this trajectory is that if you are true to yourself and this guy leaves, second month, cry it out for a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the last week you're wearing your makeup. Second month, you're asking yourself, what do I need to do? I need to recover. What do I need to do? I need to get onto the next part of my life, because life is not stopping. So you've been through depression, denial, and now you're in the anger phase. And what that would look like is you start feeling like he owes you a debt for the pregnancy, for the relationship, for the years you've lost, for the youth you've lost. And why it's good to go through this grieving period or grieving experience is because it rewrites the narrative. I hear many people say, just get over it quickly and move on. I think there's no quickly. Quickly is different for everybody. And what that would look like for me is sitting with myself and saying, okay, let's be angry today. What are we angry about? Do you know 4 days of anger, you won't have something else to be angry about? I'd rather be angry today, work for 3 days, be angry another time because of something new, and keep moving. And that's where the positive ladder of intent comes. You can't be on your positive ladder of intent and stay at the bottom. You are not climbing that ladder of intent. You are not practicing resilience when you stay at the bottom of the ladder of intent. And sometimes, ladies, it is difficult to pick yourself up. That's when you pick your phone and you call an elevation coach and say, I need to get up from this point, which now brings you to the bargaining stage. And at this stage, even Agiso says here in her book that you find yourself making a deal even with God and saying, God, if you get me out of this mental rut, RUT, I will do this. God, if you just give me a new client, I will do this. And in a way, she says this is a stage of false hope, because you're now a single mother with 1, 2, 3, or 4 children, and you're thinking, I need to tighten my belt. It's gonna be a rough ride. And why would you expect it to be rough? Because I was telling a client last week that in your head you knew you were programmed with a dual system. And suddenly one part of the system just shuts down. So this other part has to be overworked, overstretched, everything over, doubled, expectations, outcomes. And then you realize it's not stopping because this is the future. What do? Call your elevation coach and say, I need to elevate from this mind pattern. I need to elevate from this bargaining stage, because when I think of the odds, the possible odds, and it's not that you're being negative. Life is full of odds. I mean, even for a baby to be pushed out of during birth, there's some odds. So life is full of odds. So I had to keep it really, really within this video. I do not want to have another conversation because I could go on for days. So you're at the bargaining stage and you're thinking, maybe if I change myself up, he'll return. Maybe if I send the children with this message, he'll return. And he doesn't. What do you do? What do you do? Tell me in the comments, what do you do? Guess what's coming next after the bargaining? Guilt. Favorite wingman. Guilt shows up and you start saying, maybe I wasn't a good wife. Maybe I should have been more tidy. Maybe I should have told the children to stay in their room. Maybe I should have done this differently. But is that you? Unless you are living a life that's not fully you, you are who you are, how you are, why you are, and for the purpose that you are. And when I say that we need to return to that God self, it's during these crazy, shaky moments that the first cry of your heart should be, God, do not leave me at this point, because I cannot do this without you. And then you'll find yourself going into acceptance. Yay! And at this point, as highlighted by Agiso, you begin to make adjustments and readjustments. And what this would look like is experiencing old things in a new mindset, experiencing recent things with a futuristic approach, because now you understand you are the author of the new template that you've been handed by this experience. And because you love your children and you love yourself and you want, or you're hoping to live a little bit longer, it's very, very important that you elevate yourself from this life fog. What part of this bargaining or this process of grieving are you at? I'd love to hear your story, either in the comments or in my DM. Feel free to let me know. And also pause, like, follow, and share to 5. Just let someone else know that there's help. There's a process to healing.